scientific communication is very critical in disseminating information to both the community, the policymakers, and the other authorities.
It appears that the scientific community is talking among itself.
We have been blaming the mainstream media for not really taking up science, but as such, we find on the other side, we are the one who are really denying the mainstream media to access the science information.
If you are a researcher, we want to get what you have found, your findings. You have to know how to communicate. Avoid being politicians.
We know how inaccuracy in communication can be detrimental to communication. As we go through the inculcation of skills and knowledge that would help you to translate scientific information to a given specific audience, you have to know which audience you are targeting.
This has been a very exciting week for us in that we've been hosting a consultative workshop on communication, and we brought in on board journalists from various media houses and research organizations in the East African region, together with scientists who are actively involved in developing gene drive technology for mosquito control, together with trainers from the various guilds in the region, Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, under the umbrella body, the East African Editors Guild.
It's very important to educate journalists and scientists on issues to do with science communication in order to improve the way science is communicated.
We need our capacity to be built to understand what the science is doing and be able to package information tailored for the different stakeholders.
This workshop is as a result of achievements that we achieved last year, where we had a GMO 101 course in Kenya, followed by a pre-conference course in Nairobi during the first Global Congress. And from these meetings, we were able to identify some of the gaps. And these are the gaps that led us to consider going regional now in the East African region. And there has been a huge gap, not in terms of understanding technology itself, but also having people who are able to understand as well as communicate technology.
The sessions have been many. Amongst them, we've been able to understand or unpack what genetic biocontrol is. And also we've been able to look at how do we unpack or pack messages to be able to communicate to the various targeted audiences. And also we've looked at various components around capacity building, what is needed to be able to strengthen science communication within the populations that we interact with.
I have been to several workshops and probably continue to be, but in most cases, the way we do our workshops, you have facilitators giving a presentation, you ask questions, and then it is a done business. But this one, it was a bit different. Few presentations and more interactions and people giving their experiences, which was very useful based on the context we were discussing, and how best we can work together to really advance it. And so I enjoyed it and I liked it.
For us to be able to communicate with the people there, we need the right information, correct information, and from this interaction, we are able to know that the journalists are supposed to get information at the right time, and I know that the scientists from this team that we have will be able going forward to provide that information when it is required from the journalists.
I think this is the way to go because our scientists haven't been trained about communication and science communication, and I think this has been the missing link. That's why we haven't been seeing so many science stories being published and aired in our newspapers and our televisions.
We must keep on, spreading the cheer and encouraging more people to join science reporting because it is a technical field. It requires a lot of motivation for a reporter to keep on reporting there. So it's our business as editors who've gone before them to keep on encouraging them to join such bits.
So as a consortium, we have recognized that you cannot make an impact unless you are collaborative. You build strong partnerships. And our first one was EASTECO, East African Science Technology Commission. We're looking at the entire East African community that has 8 member states. And these are member states that are actively involved in science and technology and innovation. And therefore, we had to reach out to EASTECO, which is body that umbrella body that supports science technology in the East African region.
When we collectively put together these efforts, the journalists, the scientists and science communicators, the resultant effect will be greater than either any of us working in isolation. And what I've learned, I'll take back home in our platforms for the Editor Society, in our fellowships, in our programs. I will be able to make a case for science communication to be looked at.
We have to have our own very good, vibrant public relations offices, but then the journalists can assist us, provided that we also give them the information for them to inform the general public.
So the future is basically to involve the journalists in the region, the editors in the region, the mass media channels in the region to communicate our findings, our science findings, scientific findings, technological findings to the communities of those who need that information in the region.
We've designed the mechanism that will help us to interact freely and effectively by training journalists and breaking down these scientific jargons to make sure that whatever they release for the general public is consumed by ordinary people without much struggle.
Aside from this workshop, my wish is to have a platform which can be more or less contextualized, rather than just one-off workshop, to be a very clear platform, either be run as a regional initiative or as a country initiative, to make sure that as biotechnology is increasingly improving or increasingly growing across the region, also scientists and journalists are continuously engaging together.
The direction which we are taking as a consortium is very, very clear now. Our role is to support individuals, stakeholders, and national organizations and even global organizations in shaping the direction in which genetic biocontrol technologies are going to be undertaken in Africa. Africa right now has the capacity to do research and also do mass rearing of mosquitoes and even have adequate facilities, and communities now that are ready to consider some of these technologies. So that is a very big plus for us in Africa, and it's worth dancing about in the African region.